Perfect. All right, we'll get started here so I don't take up too much of the time today, but welcome to Huntsman Experience Workshop. You're here because you're probably part of our Huntsman first year experience. And in this workshop, we'll kind of just go over kind of major requirements for the information system major, kind of give you some general requirements, ways to get involved. You'll meet your team and just kind of other important stuff to be aware about that we have offered here in the Huntsman School. So to begin a little bit with me and your team, so I'm the academic advisor. I'm Nick for the major, so information systems. Hopefully everyone in here is information systems. And then Valerie's the career specialist for the major. A fun fact about me, I grew up in the Midwest. I'm from Illinois. I used to coach wrestling, and my favorite color is gold. I don't know, some random stuff like that. And then I'll have Valerie share a little bit.
All right. I told to some of the people here that I'm actually from Tehachapi, California, but I've been at Utah State probably as long as most of you have been alive. But this is my second year at Huntsman, and I love being at Huntsman because I love the focus on student success. And I keep using the same kind of useless trivia about me. So I'm sorry, Nick, you have to hear it again, but there's not that much about me. I can write backwards in cursive, and I had a 1968 Mustang that was totaled by a 10-wheel dump truck. And so now I have a 1967 instead. And I like muscle cars.
But yeah, so the QR code on the screen is how you can schedule an appointment with us, because we don't accept walk-in appointments in our office. We want to make sure to take the time out of our days and also out of your days to answer your questions to the best of our ability and be able to take that time, so not another student maybe is knocking on our door or anything. So that's why we have no walk-in policy in our office. A little bit difference between an academic advisor and a career specialist. I do like kind of getting you to graduation, so I'll help you kind of check off the boxes, making sure we're taking classes in the right semester at the right time. And then Valerie's kind of like that, what's next, like what are our plan after graduation, like helping with internships, resume reviews, anything kind of career wise, where I'm more helping you with the academic stuff. And then next, a little bit about our student email account here. I know it's crazy that I got to talk about our student email account and checking our student email account, but you'd be surprised how many students tell us they'd never check their USU student email, which to me is crazy because you're missing out on a bunch of important stuff, whether that's the This Week at Huntsman emails, maybe it's an email from me saying, hey, let's switch around our schedule a little bit. Maybe it's internship opportunities, like notifications for that from the Canvas course, anything like that. And this is how the university officially talks with you as well. So it's at like a number at usu.edu. So just making sure to kind of periodically check it throughout the day or throughout the week. And even professors, like maybe like you get lucky and a professor is sick one day and maybe it snowed that day, or they just can't get to campus, and it'd be awful to have to trudge through the snow and then get to class and realize that it was canceled because you didn't check your email. That doesn't happen often, but if that's a way that maybe gets you to check your email more, then that's how I like to say it. And then next, we'll just go over some in the classroom stuff here. Just minimum graduation requirements. So you need a total of 120 credits, a number, 100 of those needing to be a C- or above. Upper division credits are 40, which you'll get within the major. Then general education, pretty easy to get 30. That's built in with those general education requirements. Depth education credits are 15, and some of those are built in with the major. Degree requirements, we'll go over that in the next couple slides, and then 2.5 GPA in your overall, your USU, Huntsman majors and minors. And then next for the business acumen. So this kind of allows students to explore within business if they're not exactly 100% sure what they want to do, because a lot of times students will just be like, okay, I want business, but I just had to select a major. So then that's why the business acumen is there. And for the information systems major, it's a C or better in like the 15, I think it's 15 or 16 classes for that. But yeah, and then it's also there to give you a general good sense of business as well. And if you just want to get signed in, And then next, not that slide, for the information systems major, you must maintain a minimum of 2.5 GPA or above to graduate. And also an internship is required for the major as well. And for that internship class, that is an actual class you like sign up and take and need to get like approved to sign up for it. And then next, for the USU and Huntsman repeat policy, as they differ a little bit. So for the USU repeat policy, you're allowed to take a class up to 3 times. So you get that initial attempt at the class, and then you have 2 additional repeats. But the difference between the Huntsman repeat policy is I'll take that class for that initial time, and then you have that 1 additional repeat. And then what happens if you reach like the maximum number of repeats in the Huntsman school? You can appeal to take a class a 3rd time, but sometimes those don't always get approved. So hopefully we never have to cross that bridge when you're here. And then next, a little bit with navigating DegreeWorks. How many of you in here have used DegreeWorks before? Hopefully everyone. All right, perfect. So that DegreeWorks is nice. This is how we kind of use a lot of stuff. It kind of pulls up your graduation stuff and graduation requirements that you need. This is just kind of a sample student we use for this presentation purpose. It's really nice. If you don't know how to use DegreeWorks, come talk to me about it. I can kind of show you kind of tips and tricks of how to use it. We use DegreeWorks to create graduation plans or semester by semester plans for you as well. So I can set one up for you, or you can go in there, you can set one up for yourself, and you can say, hey, like, can you look over this? I threw some classes in there. Does it look good? Kind of his personal preference. Come talk to me though, if you do want to get a graduation plan set up or want to kind of just look ahead a couple semesters as well. That's a little bit about DegreeWorks. And then next, in the Huntsman school here, we also have 19 minors that we offer. It says 17 up there because this is a little bit outdated because we just recently got data analytics and a web development minor added to and approved to the website. And that's in the process of getting added right now. So we also have 19 minors. It's not required to have a minor for the major, but you do need some, like some of you might need some general elective credit. So looking into a minor might be good to maybe take relevant classes, but it's kind of just up to you if you want to do a minor or not. Minors are good if you want to explore maybe an area, like let's say like, hey, like I know I like the marketing side of things, but I don't want to go full major in marketing. Like a minor is always good for that. And then the one I always suggest with information systems major to look into is our consulting minor. Just because within the major and like within the field, you do some consulting aspects of information with information systems and that stuff. So like, it's always good to maybe get those skills and kind of learn more about how to be a good consultant. And then next, the start desk. How many know where the start desk is or have an idea? Okay, perfect. If you don't, it's located on the 2nd floor of Huntsman, or in between the airway of Huntsman and the Eccles Business Building in that like airway. And then this is where we'll have our student mentors sit down that work closely with our office. And they can help with like quick advising questions, whether like, hey, it's our busy time of year with an advisor and you need to know what classes to register for. They can help with that. They can do resume reviews. They can give suggestions for some classes if you're looking for an easier general education class to take. They can give those suggestions. Really, they can do a lot of the stuff we can do as advisors and career coaches, but just stop down there if you really need any help as well. If you just can't get an appointment with us, if we're busy, they can answer those quick questions, or they might, if they can't answer the question, they'll probably just tell you to email us. And then I'm going to pass it over to Valerie here.
Perfect. Thanks. All right. So nice to be with you guys. Glad you're here. Glad you're part of Huntsman. As Nick said, as a career coach, we can help you with all things outside of your class, outside of your academics. So resumes, internship, career exploration, or strategies, how to find internships. Internships are required for you as IS majors. And then also preparing for interviews, whether it's interview strategies or practicing interviews. So the Huntsman Canvas course, the Huntsman experience, hopefully you guys have all seen that. and are getting familiar, acquainted with it. When you click on it, there's the start here, and you will see Elise Newberry. She does a little video kind of giving you the nuts and bolts of how to take advantage of the opportunity. The primary function of the Huntsman Experience Canvas course is to help you guys know what resources are available to you as Huntsman students. Huntsman has a number of things that are unique to this college from the rest of the university. And so taking advantage of having your advisors and career coach housed in the same place is unique. No other college has that on campus. And so, and in the spirit of gamification, Elise tracks the points, participation points each week. And then every 2 weeks, she'll post the top earners, and they'll be on the displays around the buildings. And then every month she'll identify the 2 students with the most points, and they'll get a leather pad folio, which I did see a few students carting around at the career expo we had last Friday. So it was fun to see them. And then 2 easy ways or activities to earn points is just by being here or participating in the Huntsman Experience. You can fill that activity, and that's 60 points. And then the first activity listed is a short survey. It's about 8 questions. It'll take you about 10 minutes. And it's really just helping you to identify and start thinking about the competencies, the soft skills that employers are looking for, and helping you be aware of what they are and how you can articulate those skills. Any questions about the Huntsman Experience Canvas course? Have you all seen it? If you haven't, let us know, come down. And then the follow-on Canvas course, and both of them, there's no additional charge for them, and also no college credit, so you don't have to worry about that. But this Canvas course was designed to help you see that you're on track and to help you really accelerate your career. So you'll see in the modules, there are 12 different modules ranging from resume reviews to mock interviews, to knowing what resources are available to you at the library. And again, designed to help you articulate your skills that you are acquiring. And one of my favorite parts about the Dare Mighty Careers Canvas course is this is how I communicate with you. Typically once a week, I'll send an announcement. And in that announcement, there'll be events kind of looking ahead, so you know club activities, what's happening, and then internship opportunities as well as job opportunities. So that's something you'll want to look for. And then next up, we have the roadmap to graduation. So this is divided into your 4 years, and it's really small. Yes, I know, but it's available through the Huntsman Experience Canvas course, so you can see it there. If you'd like a hard copy, you can stop by our office, and 1,000 brownie points to anyone who knows where our office is. I know at least one of you knows. Dan, where is it? Yep. Yep. Yep, 309. Yep. So kind of if you just go right down this ramp, then it will lead you pretty much to our office, 309 in the FJ Management Center. You can pick up a hard copy, and it's also available online. And you pulled that up here, huh? Yeah. And so the purpose is really just to kind of help you gauge what activities you should be involved in each year. And the whole goal is we want you to have a job when you graduate. That's my focus. My expectation is that by you guys meeting with Nick, you guys will take care of graduating. So that's less of my worry. My worry is we want you to have a job lined up, and not just a job, but a competitive job. And so by following these recommended timelines or activities will help ensure that your career is on the right path. And that of course doesn't mean that you can't jump around. Of course you can, depending on your need, but this will give you a good feel of where you want to be on track. And there are different videos that you can watch for each step along the way. from previous Huntsman students. Any questions there? Okay, perfect. All right, moving on. Focus Fridays. This is another unique thing at the Huntsman School of Business. Last Friday, we just had our Career Expo. There were over 50 companies in attendance, and there were over 530 students who attended. So it was a very successful event. And this picture is kind of depicting that. And also up there, we have our backpack to briefcase events, and that's this tab, right? And so I'll backtrack for just a second. So Focus Friday is a day that we typically don't have classes. And the reason is so that you guys can develop professionally. So it's very strategic for you guys to be able to own your education and be intentional and proactive while you're here in Huntsman. And that's one of the best ways to help you line up a job by the time you graduate. So it will be kind of, hopefully you'll be able to identify what your dream role is with your dream company. And some of the activities that we have are leadership forums. And at the leadership forums, we've had various people. We've had commanders from the US Air Force. We've had former Congress people and former CEO and chairwoman of the board from Pepsi Company. And it is not uncommon for internships to be given at those leadership forums. And so on Professional Development Day on Fridays, we encourage students to dress professionally. So it's just the opposite of a lot of the casual Fridays that you hear about. And then we in our office, we sponsor this backpack to briefcase event. And so we typically bring in industry professionals, often Huntsman alumni, who will talk about topics that are pertinent to students. And this Friday, we're planning on having a CEO come and present on case interviews. So it should be something, because you guys, as you interview for many positions, case interviews will be a part of that. So she'll be talking about how to prepare. And they're also archived, as you can see, on the YouTube channel. Okay. Anything else for Focus Fridays? And then student involvement. Student involvement is huge for a lot of reasons. When I talk with recruiters, as we just had the expo on Friday, recruiters have mentioned that they look for student involvement outside of class. So they know obviously you chose your major because you're interested, but they want to see how interested you are. And they gauge that oftentimes by your activity outside of class. And some of those extracurricular activities can take the shape of clubs. So that's the top left image. Huntsman has over 24 clubs on campus. A primary club for AIS students is the Association for Information Systems, or IS students, I should say, is the AIS club. And for any of you, if you're interested in cybersecurity, they have kind of a splinter group. It's called Cyber Sentinels. If you want to know when they meet, let me know. And I can hook you up. You can also check right here, the events calendar. And that link will take you to club events as well. So you know when they're happening. And the AIS club, it's $20 a semester or $30 for the year. And they have a lot of competitions and conferences you're able to go to. They bring in industry professional speakers, who again is a kind of a form of career exploration as well as networking. So, and those are two of the biggest components of having that competitive job when you graduate, is taking time to do the research and then networking. And then, and of course, there are a lot of other clubs to be involved in as well. Internships is another way to show recruiters how interested you are. And not only that, but it's a way to gain experience while you're in college, so that when you graduate, you have some experience on your resume. I've met with a few students who, in other majors, who didn't have work experience that was applicable to their major. And so they're having a harder time finding a job in their field. So my recommendation would be do internships often and do it early. And there are companies we met with just Friday who actually hire freshman interns. So don't think because you're a freshman, you can't do internships. The two specifically that I talked with just Friday was Northrop Grumman and CED, so Consolidated Electric Distributors. So there are internships opportunities for freshmen. And as Nick mentioned, Lynn Benyon, he's the internship coordinator. He's the one who will approve your internship. And then there's also SEED, which is an international experience. It's designed for people with an entrepreneurial mindset. You'll have opportunities to teach, mentor, and help people with funding. And then we also have the GLE, it's the Global Learning Experience that's designed to help people think globally and internationally. And then the middle picture represents just a reminder to be involved in university-wide activities. So such as the HERD. So it's the student organization nationally recognized as the loudest student section. So any questions? Excellent. Okay. Your story matters. So this is an initiative that we are working with support from the Dean's Office. We're working on collecting stories from students such as yourselves to tell the Huntsman story, to share your experience, whether it's an internship, whether it's a faculty member who is a mentor for you. If you went to the expo, how was your expo experience as a freshman? And also not collecting just the super top performing, achieving amazing stories, but also collecting stories from maybe struggles that students have gone through and what resources did they use to overcome those struggles, because chances are there are other students who may be struggling as well. So the idea is to have a well-rounded, diverse collection of stories to share with students and to tell the Huntsman story. Okay, last section is setting goals. So when I get to this slide, I often think of the Franklin principle from 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And one of the principles is to begin with the end in mind. So we talked a little bit about having that dream job or having an idea of what that is, so we can target your experiences while you're in school. And so I typically like to start with the last bullet first and kind of start exploring and dreaming. What do you want to do? What is your goal? And then let's make a plan to make it happen. Because if we don't have a goal, it's hard to achieve it, right? That's obvious, it makes sense. And so then we just break it down with monthly goals and semester goals. And so if you want to take a look at some of the goals listed on the screen, in a minute, I'm gonna change from this slide, but they're just designed to give you ideas of what some goals might look like. And then the last slide is if you guys want to get your phones and scan the QR code. This is a survey you guys will do. And part of that survey, you'll be setting some goals to help you dream big. And as far as the dream big, that's something that both Nate and I can help you with. Excuse me, because a couple of the things that you'll hear often in Huntsman is to own your education. And as you dream about what you want to do, setting those goals, that's part of owning your education. And when you identify what you want to do, then be intentional while you're in school and choose the classes that will help you reach your goal. Participate in the internships that will give you that experience, expand that network, participate in the Focus Friday activities. And then the second part that you'll hear a lot is to dare mighty things. And that's something that I like, and encourage you both, or all of you, to set appointments with Nick and I to help you dream or to dare and do mighty things. Because if we know what your plans are, we're better able to help you. So that's it. You guys are welcome to stay here and complete the survey. We'll stay until the last person is done and answer any questions you guys might have.
And then the survey is how you get, the survey is how you get official participation in this workshop and get checked off. So like make sure like you don't get that hold place on your account. So make sure at the end when you complete it, make sure it does like click submit, because sometimes students forget to click submit at the bottom, and then I got to reach out to them about doing the survey again. So because then it kicks back to me in my email, and then I mark you guys off as complete. So just make sure to do it sometimes so you don't get that hold on your account for registration.